Hey yo, football fans, it's another great year. Fantasy football fiends, grab your beer. Giving you the best draft tips for all your picks. Starts and sits to the waiver wire fix. From mock drafts galore to stats that's hardcore. Triple F does it all, have y'all screaming more. So sit back, relax, let the experts prevail. JT Magnum, Siggy Guns never fail. What's up, fantasy football fans and daily fantasy football fans? My name is JT Magnum, and this is our first episode of DraftKings weekly lineups, and I'm going to wing this because that's what I do. And first, I want to talk about the fact that we are a DraftKings partner affiliate. You're more than welcome to join our league. I am now doing free contests because the money contest didn't pan out in the way. Not many people joined and things like that. I'm pretty sure that not everybody, has money to just deposit into DraftKings and be able to play. So we're going to do some free games. That'll be a little exciting for everybody to play, and then do some bragging rights, and I can shout you out in the show. Actually, probably shout you out in this show because this has to do with DraftKings. So, but there are like other promotions and things that DraftKings does in case you do join DraftKings. I believe, I don't know if you have to pay money to join DraftKings at the beginning. I don't remember because I think I did at the beginning when I first started DraftKings. I think I deposited $10 or something, but it was like a promotion or something they were doing. That they match your $10 or I don't remember. But anyways, I think the least you have to deposit is $5. I do know that. If you want to play for money and things like that. But they do have free contests. And as you see on the screen there's the free arcades that they do all the time. And I play them. I actually won $30 on one of them this year. It was a bigger one, freer one. It was like hundreds of thousands of people, I believe, that were playing it. And I think I placed I don't remember what place it was, but it was enough to get me $30. So I was pretty pumped about that. Shocked actually that I even did that well, but it's a lot of single entry games, which I love the single entry games. And there's a lot of fun stuff you can do on DraftKings, including there's the thing I love to do is early afternoon games only, or only primetime games only, or late afternoon games only. That way you don't have such a big, humongous mixture of players. You get to try to pick between a certain amount of players and keep it that way, and it gives me all kinds of different lineups I can choose that way. I don't know why, but that's my preference, why I like those, but you're more than welcome to play anything you like. But let's get into this because I really enjoy DraftKings a lot. I've actually won pretty decent, okay money. Like I said before, I only gamble like 25-cent games and things like that. I don't like to gamble a lot of money, but I've won pretty. I'm ahead of the way I was last year. Last year I think I won $80 total, but I didn't start playing till like half the year or so, I think it was. Siggy actually got me into DraftKings, and he's the one that told me I should do it. I was playing FanDuel before, and I wasn't a fan. Go figure. I wasn't a fan of FanDuel. Anyways, and it's not because DraftKings gave me a partnership or a partner affiliate thing. It's just because FanDuel, I just didn't think it was the same. I didn't think it was, I don't know, it just seemed like lineups were being altered and things were happening there. DraftKings seems a little more legit to me, or a lot more legit, I should say. And I don't see, I see them as more, you're more able to win on DraftKings than you are in FanDuel, in my opinion. So, but you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to try out FanDuel if you like to. But DraftKings is our league, and DraftKings is the one I like to play, and I've been winning pretty good money, so not bad at all. So let's get into it. Let's get into the quarterbacks this week for the DraftKings, and the first one is there's a lot of guys here for cheap, and right now at the beginning I already see. You want to put Tom Brady in because he's throwing for 400 yards in a snap. But remember, he's $7,700, and you got to make a lineup of, I believe, 50,000. It's 50,000 total lineup. And I'll get into lineups later of some of my best lineups for this week that I'm doing. It's so hard to mix and match lineups and things like that, but the best bargain value I see in the first round, or the first few of first page of quarterbacks, I should say, is Derek Carr at 6,500 going against that KC defense. KC defense has allowed a lot of yards through the air this year. Derek Anderson, if he plays, if Cam Newton's out, I believe Cam Newton's going to play. I don't think Cam Newton's going to sit out 2 weeks in a row, but he's $8,100 if he plays, and you're more than welcome to play him. I try to stay away from the high quarterbacks. Ben Roethlisberger, obviously, against the Dolphins, who haven't been able to stop any kind of passing game whatsoever this year. $7,500. That's a great play this week. Quarterbacks to kind of stay away from. Matt Ryan, I know that he's been killing it and things like that, but going against Seattle in Seattle is a very tough place to play. On the other hand, Russell Wilson, it might be a really good play against Atlanta, who hasn't been able to stop the pass very well either this year. And Russell Wilson is more than likely to run and pass and get you yards and touchdowns running and passing. So I really like Russell Wilson, of course, this week too. Moving on, though, on the second page, we have Blake Bortles, Stafford, Mariota. I really love Mariota. I also love Stafford this week against the Rams. The Rams do give up a lot of pass yards. They didn't give that much up to Tyrod Taylor, but that's only because the Buffalo Bills were running like crazy last week. Mariota gets you ground touchdowns and running and passing, and they're going against Cleveland, and Cleveland gives up a ton of yardage. They've been playing okay, but they still give up a ton of yardage, and they still give up a ton of points, and I really like Marcus Mariota this week, especially against that team. Phillip Rivers is a guy you probably don't want to put in. I know he's only 5,900 this week, and the reason why is because obviously he's playing Denver. If you want to take a chance on him, you can, because there's a lot of people that probably won't start him. So if you start him and he goes off, then that's a good gamble, and that's a good chance for you to get some money, but I wouldn't take that chance. Brian Hoyer's a guy I really love with only 5,800 to play against the Jaguars. A very good option at that point, and I'll show you later why I think that is. But let's go to the last page of the quarterbacks. And we got Alex Smith at 5,700 against the Raiders. The Raiders have been giving up a lot of pass yards this year, a lot. I know Alex Smith isn't your normal all-the-time passer, but with the way they play and the way they might be behind against this Oakland team, or it might be just a shootout against this Oakland team, I really like Alex Smith's chances to get maybe 3 touchdowns and possibly run one, or 2 touchdowns and run one. He gets a lot of quick screens, a lot of passes to Jeremy Maclin and Chris Conley, who's stepping up as of late. And Tyrod Taylor is another good one, 5,300, along with Trevor Siemian at 5,200. Trevor Siemian's going against the Chargers, who have they've allowed all kinds of yardage whatsoever. They've been losing games at the end. They've just been abysmal on defense, especially towards the end of games. And Trevor Siemian's a guy that I think is unlike Paxton Lynch, who showed his rookiness last week. Trevor Siemian's a guy that can get you a lot of points, especially with them. He got them weapons. He's got Emmanuel Sanders and I call him Chicken Wing because of his commercials, Buffalo Wild Wing commercials. But I just really Demaryius Thomas I was talking about, sorry. And I really like Trevor Siemian this week, and Tyrod Taylor going against the 49er defense, who's been giving up a lot of yards on the ground. They haven't been giving up that much yards in the pass, but they do give up passing touchdowns. So Tyrod Taylor can benefit from that. Not much else I really like here except for those 3, except for maybe Brock Osweiler. He might have that breakout game this year, or his breakout game this year against Indianapolis, who's been abysmal against the pass. And other than that, I mean, I don't really see any quarterbacks that probably will do much damage, or if anything, they'll just be mediocre at that level. So let's go on to running backs. And my running backs this week, let's see. We got a few there. Le'Veon Bell's always a must start. So if you can try to get him in your lineup, always get him in your lineup, especially going against the Dolphins, who have, I believe, given up the most rushing yards this year on the ground. If they're not right at the very top, they're right there second or third, I believe. So the Dolphins have given them a lot of rushing yards, and it's surprising because they have those 4 stud defensive linemen, but for some reason they can't stop the run. I don't know what it is. DeMarco Murray's a must start always, especially like I said against Cleveland. Cleveland's just been abysmal on defense. C.J. Anderson's not really surprisingly not a good start against a San Diego defense that has not given up much defense or not much yardage on the ground. Ezekiel Elliott, that's everybody's favorite. You're going to see a lot of him in every lineup. I try to stay away from people that are most used in lineups, only because you're trying to be different in DraftKings so that you can try to get that different lineup that does well so that you can get some money. That's the whole purpose of this. LaShawn McCoy, I love at 6,900 against that 49er defense. Like I said, they've given up a 100-yard rusher 4 straight games. I remember they went a stretch of 20 something or 2 years or something without giving up a 100-yard rusher. Now all of a sudden they've given up 4 straight games of 100-yard rushers. So, and LaShawn McCoy's on a tear right now. Christine Michael, I love this week against Atlanta. Only 6,800 points. Lamar Miller, I love against Indianapolis. Lamar Miller is only 6,600. And Jordan Howard's been the hot guy right now in Chicago. He's been 2 straight games of 100 yards. He had a really good game last week. And I really love Jordan Howard as well at 6,200. Moving on, though. We got another few guys here. We got Devonta Freeman's a guy I want to stay away from against Seattle. I don't think he's going to, even at 5,600 points, he's probably not worth a play. Seattle has a really good defense against the run. Theo Riddick's a guy I like because he gets you points per catch, and he's been doing great catch. He's not a great rusher, but he's been doing great receiving the ball for the Lions, and he gets those touchdowns. He had like a couple last week. Carlos Hyde could be a sleeper this week against the Bills. They've given up a little less than 100 yards per game, but he could be a sleeper now that Kaepernick is starting. So there's a threat there of the 2 running, so you never know which one might happen there. But still, at the same time, not sure about him. And Frank Gore's another sleeper choice going against Houston, who has given up a pretty good chunk of yardage on the ground, and they're minus, of course, J.J. Watt. So there's another guy to look at. Here we got Jamal Charles. Oakland's given up a lot of yards on the ground as well. Jamal Charles is a pretty good start, especially only at 5,100 points. Used to be he was way at the top, and there's DraftKings on these DraftKings things, but for some reason he's not at this point, maybe because he was a little banged up, but still not a good play. Terrence West, not a good play this week against the Giants defense, has not been giving up that much on the ground. They gave up a little bit last week against Green Bay to a couple people here and there, but it still wasn't a lot, and I don't trust Terrence West this week. Ryan Matthews, I think, is actually a really good play against the Redskins. I like him a lot, especially at 4,900 points. He's actually one of my starts this year, or starts this week on my Stardom Situm show. I really like Ryan Matthews. Let's see on the bottom here. Not really a fan of anyone else. Tevin Coleman's one of those sneaky picks, but still, like I said, against Seattle, I don't know. Then we got the next tier where we got Latavius Murray, and who's probably out. The only guys I really like here is probably Fozzie Whitaker going against the Saints. But then again, Cameron Artis-Payne was killing it, so I'm not sure how that's going to work with Cameron Artis-Payne and him. Cameron Artis-Payne scored the 2 touchdowns yesterday. Fozzie Whitaker did some damage running, but Cameron Artis-Payne was the guy who scored the touchdowns. DeAndre Washington's a really good start at 4,200. Going against the KC defense that's giving up a lot of yards on the ground as well. James White, of course, now obviously with New England and Tom Brady back, now we got that passing option. He's a PPR option, and they do count points per reception in DraftKings, so James White is a good pickup as well. In the 5th tier down, we have, let's see, like I said, not much going on here except for Cameron Artis-Payne. Devontae Booker's a good, semi-good option, but like I said, San Diego's not giving him much on the ground, so he's a good PPR option if you want some points. Chris Ivory, I really love this week. I think Chris Ivory's going to gain 100 yards. I'd stay away from Jay Ajayi. I'd stay away from pretty much everybody on this list except for Payne and Ivory. I think that, no, here we go. The last tier of the running backs, Derrick Henry might be a good spell play for DeMarco Murray. James Starks might start this week against Dallas, but I still don't think he's worth a play. Bobby Rainey's getting a lot of catches here and there, but Baltimore's been stout against the run, so I'd stay away from giant running backs this week, and that's pretty much it. So that does it for running backs. Let's get into wide receivers. And the wide receivers this week, Antonio Brown, look at him with 10,000 points. And he's almost worth it. I mean, if you can try to figure out how to get him in the lineup with getting really low-cost other guys, and I'll show you one way I did it, and getting him along with some low-cost guys in there that maybe other people don't think about, then maybe that'll be a good lineup option for you. But in this tier, I really like, obviously, Antonio Brown. I mean, what's not to like? Kelvin Benjamin at 8,100 I like as well. Allen Robinson, I think I like Allen Hurns more. I'll talk about that in a second. But Brandon Cooks I like as well at 7,600. But I try to stay away from too much of the top tier guys because you're trying to look for that guy. You're trying to look for the best options, but then on top of that, look for and Julio Jones. I'm definitely staying away for especially with Richard Sherman covering. I know Julio Jones is always a must play in regular standard leagues, and if I had him, I'd start him in my leagues too. But in DraftKings, you want the most points possible, and I don't think he's going to get a lot of points against that Seattle defense. Whew. All right, Brandon Marshall's a guy I would stay away from this week, especially with Patrick Peterson just covering him all day. Amari Cooper I like. DeAndre Hopkins I actually like this week going against that Indianapolis defense. He can finally get some points. Marvin Jones Jr. I like a lot. Emmanuel Sanders I definitely like going against that San Diego defense minus Jason Verrett now. Michael Crabtree's been on a tear. His dude's been phenomenal, on fire. 6,900, he's a must play. He's just a must play. Demaryius Thomas, like I told you, Chicken Wang, going against San Diego, I like him. I would play both Demaryius and Emmanuel Sanders in some leagues. Jarvis Landry's a PPR machine. If you like points per reception, Jarvis Landry, he'll get you those points. He'll get you like 10 catches, and it might be for 80 yards and 1 touchdown, but at least he'll get you those points. The next tier, of course, Julian Edelman being with Brady. You never know who's going to get the ball though with New England, so it's always tough to decide. But Brady can get 100 yards receivers in one game. That's just how good New England's passing game is. Willie Snead is an awesome play this week going against that Carolina defense at home for New Orleans with 6,400. Jeremy Maclin against that Oakland defense, like I said before, is giving up a lot in the pass at 6,300. Terrell Pryor with his versatileness, you never know he's going to pass, he's going to run and receive, so he gets you a lot of points there, especially against Tennessee. And he's all they got. He's pretty much all they have in Cleveland right now, and whether you try to, they try to get the ball in his hands as much as they can, and you want those players on your team for DraftKings. Will Fuller, I think, is going to have a great game this week against against Indy. And let's move on. I'm trying to find some deep lower tier guys. Sammy Coates, guy had a breakout game last week. I think he's going to do it again against Miami. Chris Hogan at 4,600 points with a nice game that he had last week going against Cincinnati, and as long as he doesn't get hurt, because he got a little banged up twice. I mean, he came back from an injury. After he comes back, he catches the ball again, and he gets killed. He gets absolutely murdered on the ground. I don't know how they hit him, but they just hit him hard, and he was just down for the count. And he's just one of those guys where you're like, oh, if you put him in, but you're holding your breath that he doesn't get hurt. But he's a good option at 4,600 points. And like I said before, Allen Hurns, I think, is the guy that's going to go off this week for Jacksonville, not Robinson. At 4,700 points, that's a pretty good option. Sterling Shepard had a big 0 last game. I might stay away from this week against Baltimore, even if Baltimore's been pretty good against the pass too. So I'll probably stay away from this week. Some guys on here, as you can see, the numbers. The only couple guys I probably would like would maybe be Michael Thomas, Philip Dorsett, and Robert Woods I really like with 4,200 points going against the 49ers. He's actually one of my sleepers this week. I really like Robert Woods, especially with the Niners giving up, like I said, they give up touchdowns in the red zone, passing, and they've just been giving up yards on the ground. If they get to the red zone, the Bills, they might throw it to Robert Woods, and then there you go right there. Some lower tier options. Tyrell Williams is a guy that I wouldn't like. Cameron Meredith. Here's an interesting pick. Everybody thought Eddie Royal was going to be the guy. Cameron Meredith ends up being the guy getting like 9 catches, 130 yards. Excellent option for 4,100 points. Tajay Sharp could be a sleeper going against Cleveland, with Cleveland keying on Rashard Matthews. Maybe Tajay Sharp actually gets some catches this week. And that's pretty much it for this slot. Let's go to the next one real quick. Devontae Adams is a solid pickup, especially if Randall Cobb is out. Going against the Dallas defense that I mean, they give up points. So it isn't like they don't give up points, but they give up points too. We got Tyler Lockett here. Tyler Lockett's a really, really solid pick against the Atlanta defense that has been giving up yards against the pass as well. I really like him. for Seattle this week, more than Baldwin, actually. I like Lockett. Danny Amendola is another one. You never know. Like I said, with the Patriot receivers, you don't know. But I stick to the ones I like, and that's Chris Hogan and Edelman. And the last group of wide receivers, you just don't know with these guys. These are the guys that you might want to pick, like a Rashard Matthews, maybe a Bryce Butler. But at the same time, I think the only one on here worth really looking at is possibly Rashard Matthews, because he seems to be the guy, or maybe Andre Johnson for touchdowns, but he gets you like 2 catches a game. It's not going to be worth it. Rashard Matthews at least will maybe get you 5 or 6, and maybe it'll get you a touchdown or 2 against Cleveland, who's just been suspect on defense. So that does it for the wide receivers. Let's get into tight ends. The first batch, Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen's been phenomenal. You saw him on Monday night, had like 180 yards receiving, and now he's going against New Orleans, who's abysmal against the pass. Rob Gronkowski already had 100 yards his first game back. There's a lot of great options on the first, obviously 3. The best value for your money, though, Martellus Bennett. I mean, 4,500 for Martellus Bennett, and he scored 3 touchdowns last week. And you know they're going to throw to him because they're going to key on Gronkowski. Jimmy Graham at 4,900 and playing the Falcons. He's used to playing the Falcons when he was with the Saints. Seattle's going to use him. They've been using him now. They figured out finally how to use him. I see him with 100 yards and maybe a couple touchdowns in this game. Travis Kelce as well at 5,000. Great option going against an Oakland defense that's just horrible against the pass. Moving on. If Tyler Eifert plays, that's a pretty good option at 4,100. Zach Ertz is a great option at 4,000. And Zach Miller is a great option at 3,800. Kobe Fleener, I would probably sit him, especially with the way that Carolina covers tight ends. Eric Ebron, if he plays, another great option at only 3,400 points going against a Rams defense that gave up a lot of yards to the Bills tight end last week. And I just don't. I really like Ebron's athletic ability, especially playing at home. I think he's actually going to have a breakout game this week. I think that's pretty much it for the tight ends. Yeah, that was it. There was only 2 tiers of them. So let's get into defenses. The defenses, the best one on here, 3,700. Well, actually, let's start from the bottom up. The Titans at 3,300, I think, is a great play. At 3,300, you get the Titans defense going against a Cleveland team that just doesn't know what they're doing at quarterback. They don't even know who they have at quarterback, basically, because they all keep getting hurt. So I really like Tennessee, and their defense has been pretty solid this year, despite their record. The Steelers at 3,400 points is another good option, especially going against Ryan Tannehill and the Dolphins, who have just been abysmal on offense. So I really like the Steelers. Seahawks is always a must play if you want to play them, but they are playing an Atlanta team that has pretty much done well against Carolina. They did well against Denver. I mean, they're just romping people with points, and I'm a little nervous with that Atlanta team to play Seattle, but Seattle could get you special teams points with Tyler Lockett, so you never know. The Bills are a great play. The 49ers offense has been inept. They're starting Colin Kaepernick this week, so who knows what they might be able to do. And they're at home. The Bills defense plays very well at home, so I really like them with that 3,700 points. But moving on. The best ones I can think of on here, possibly the Texans going against Indianapolis. Might be a solid like gamble play. The Ravens going against the Giants, who've just been a little bit erratic with their offense. And that's pretty much it. I don't know if I'd start anyone else. Maybe the Packers against Dallas, just because they're at home. And the last few bunch, I don't think I'd start any one of these. I mean, if you want to take a chance, maybe the Panthers going against the Saints, but the Saints are at home and Drew Brees just throws all over the place. The Jets maybe against Arizona. I don't see anyone down here worth your play. That you could take a chance on. I just don't see it. So, but we'll see. We'll see with that. So let's get into the lineups now. The first lineup I have Ben Roethlisberger, and this is going to be a long show, sorry, but this is going to be a little long because I want to do this DraftKings stuff for you. The first roster you see here is Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, Chris Ivory, Antonio Brown. This is the one I told you. I managed to get Roethlisberger, Bell, Antonio Brown in on here, and you're talking about three complete studs there on the first side of the ball. Roethlisberger can get you 4 or 5 touchdown passes. Le'Veon Bell can get you 2 touchdown catches, runs. Antonio Brown can get you a lot of yards, catches, and on top of that, a touchdown or 2. So I really like those 3 there, so I left them there. Chris Ivory, I told you I liked a lot, only at 3,500 to mix him in. Rashard Matthews only at 3,400. Tyler Lockett mixed him in at 3,600. Jimmy Graham, like I told you, another value pick at 4,900. Will Fuller in the flex spot for 5,900. And the Titans for 3,300. I mean, I really, really like that play a lot. Another lineup, the Tennessee Titan lineup, if you want to call it. Marcus Mariota, Rashard Matthews, and DeMarco Murray in this one. Like I said, Cleveland's defense is not that good, so I really like to pair up those 3. LaShawn McCoy, I think he's going to have a big day. Plugged him in there. Emmanuel Sanders, I told you, another guy that I think is going to have a good day, has a good rapport with Trevor Siemian. Willie Snead going against the Carolina defense. Jimmy Graham again, I really like him this week. Devontae Adams going against Dallas, and the Bills defense at 3,700 points. All right, we got Alex Smith now. This is the Kansas City Chief offense now. Alex Smith, Jeremy Maclin, and Travis Kelce. Those are the 3 from the Chiefs. I like to pair up people because I just feel like if the people with the good matchups, I think, should be paired up. And I really like to pair up like a receiver, a tight end, or who the best players are on their team, who will get the ball, and who gets the ball the most, or who gets the most targets. And those are the 3 I feel get the most. So that's why I put them in there. But I did not put Jamal Charles in. I actually put Le'Veon Bell in there and Christine Michael because I really like him this week against Atlanta. Sammy Coates for the Pittsburgh. Chris Hogan, Travis Kelce, like I said, and Theo Riddick to get some PPR points and catches and possibly a couple touchdowns. And the defense of the Steelers going against that erratic Miami offense, like I said before. Let's see here. Lineup number 4. This is the New England Patriots team right here. Tom Brady, we got Chris Hogan, Rob Gronkowski, Martellus Bennett, and the Patriots defense. Terrell Pryor Sr.'s in here, along with Cameron Meredith, like I said, for 4,100 points, $4,100, I should say, and Jordan Howard on the Bears too for 6,200, and Lamar Miller for 6,600. Really love this lineup. And these are lineups I might use this week. I just made them up for this thing because these are some of the guys I liked early. But as I go along through the weeks, lineups will change obviously, and I'll do kind of different mix and match things. But I really like these lineups as I looked at it today. Lineup number 5, we've got Russell Wilson, Christine Michael, we got Doug Baldwin as well. Jimmy Graham. Those are the 4 Seattle Seahawks. I have Jamal Charles in, Demaryius Thomas, Chicken Wang, Allen Hurns. Like I said before, I really like Allen Hurns this week. Robert Woods, he's another one of my sleepers going against the 49ers for the Bills and the Seahawks defense, which I said would be scary, but I also said they could get special teams points with Tyler Lockett running punt returns back, and they are going to punt the ball. Believe me, Atlanta will punt the ball a lot, and there will be opportunities for the Seattle special teams to score. So that does it actually for the DraftKings lobby or the DraftKings show. Thanks for watching. Leave comments in the comment section. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in there. Sorry the show was so long. Hopefully I'll try to keep it down as much as I can next time. Maybe not talk so much about guys. But like I said, this is the first one, so I wanted to make it a good one for you guys and get a little bit more in depth with the players and why I pick them and things like that and who I like and different things. There's so much going on. I mean, you're talking about everybody in this one. I'm able to talk about studs in this one, and that's why I like it. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, guys. And don't forget to join our league. Don't forget to join our contests if you like. We have free ones, like I said. Fill them up, and then I can shout you out on the show if you win. You can let me know that you won if you want. I could try to shout you out if I find out you're from a subscriber on my channel. All right. So for Fantasy Football Fiends, the DraftKings show, JT Magnum, I'm out. Peace, y'all. Win that money. Win that money this week on DraftKings if you guys are in it, all right? Win that money. I'm always trying to win that big one. All right, peace, guys.